Hello, good morning to all. I am Khaja Asifullah, lecturer in chemistry from Government Degree College, Falaknuma, Hyderabad. Today, I present a lesson on chemistry of complexes or chemistry of coordination compounds. It's a series of lectures, and this is the fourth one in the series. Therefore, it is part 4. Today, we will discuss about the theory of coordination compounds. We have different theories to explain the properties, etc., such as structure, geometry, and many things of coordination compounds. One such theory is called Werner's theory. Werner, that is Alfred Werner, in 1893 put forward his theory as concept of auxiliary valencies or secondary valencies. The fundamental postulates of this theory are as follows. Number one, our first postulate is metal possesses two different types of valencies. One is called primary valency. The second one is called secondary valency. First, let us discuss about primary valency. Actually, we are talking about the valency of metal which forms the complex. Therefore, the metal or central metal atom or central metal ion, here we will take and we will discuss about the two types of valencies it possesses. First is primary valency and second is secondary valency. Now, primary valency of the metal is also called as principal valency or ionizable valency. It is the valency that a metal normally exhibits in the formation of simple salts. Primary valencies are non-directional. They do not orient themselves in the space around the central metal ion. Since these are ionizable, hence they are kept outside the square bracket in which the central metal ion and the ligand are placed. Now, first point is primary valencies are nothing but the valency of the metal that is exhibited in simple salt. For example, if we consider copper sulfate is actually formed by the reaction between copper and sulfuric acid, in which we have Cu, that is copper, in +2 oxidation state, and sulfate ion is in -2 oxidation state. Here we have to consider the valency of metal, that is copper, which is here +2. So this +2 oxidation state of copper is actually the oxidation state of copper in its salt. Similarly, platinum forms platinum tetrachloride, in which its valency is +4 or oxidation state. Actually, this is the first stage of formation of complex or coordination compound. We have one more salt, AgCl, that is silver chloride, in which the valency of silver is +1. Generally, in complexes, primary valency is shown by dotted lines, and this is satisfied by negative ions such as chloride or sulfate, etc. And these will ionize in water, means these ions will ionize when this complex is added to water. Second point in this is primary valencies are non-directional. They do not orient themselves in the space around the central metal. Now, this point is actually, these 2 points belongs to the geometry of the complex or the structure of the molecule of a particular complex. Since these valencies are ionic in nature, so here they do not contribute anything to the geometry or structure of the complex or metal complex. Hence, there is no contribution of primary valencies toward the structure. They are ionizable in water. Now, as I told you just now, this copper sulfate, when it is added to water, it will produce Cu2 plus and SO4 2 minus, cupric sulfate. Here, copper exists in +2 oxidation state. Now we will take the second type of valency called as secondary valency. This is the valency of metal which it exercises in second stage. As I told you, primary valency is in first stage, means first metal convert itself into ion, then it will form bonds with ligand. Therefore, it is second stage. Here, metal accept one or more number of pairs of electrons from ligand, and the ligand is nothing but a negatively charged particle or a positively charged ion or a neutral molecule. So this metal ion, which is formed by the loss of electrons one or more from the metal atom, possess certain empty d orbitals or vacant d orbitals which have capacity to accept electron pairs from ligand, and ligand is a molecular ion which can donate electrons, and in turn they form bond between them. For example, ligands like NH3, H2O, etc. are molecules which are neutral. Sometimes positive or negative ions also act as ligands. Second point in this is every metal has fixed number of secondary valencies, such as in the case of cobalt, the secondary valencies it can have is 6. For platinum it is 4, and for copper it is 2. These numbers are fixed for particular metal. Next, total number of secondary valencies required by a metal is known as its coordination number. What is coordination number of a metal? It is nothing but the number of secondary valencies of a metal. Secondary valencies are not non-ionizable. When the complex is added to water, this part will not get ionized, which is generally called as central metal ion. Sorry, complex ion, which is the combination of central metal ion and ligand. As we know, primary valencies are represented by dotted line, whereas the secondary valencies are represented by thick lines when we write the structure of a molecule of a complex. Now this shows you how a particular complex get ionized in water. Here we have two examples. First one is potassium ferrocyanide. It is a complex in which potassium is cation, or it forms cation in water, whereas this part, which is called as coordination sphere or complex ion, will exist as unit. Inside this we have a central metal ion and ligand. Ligand can be one or more than one. So this total part, which is enclosed in square bracket, is called complex ion or coordination sphere. Now, when we add this complex to water, it gets ionized, producing a cation and an anion. The cation here is potassium, and this will not ionize in water, therefore it exists as unity or unit having 4 negative charges in. So it is cationic form of coordination sphere, and this is cationic and this is anionic. Now, in the second case, where we have taken hexamine cobalt 3 chloride, when hexamine cobalt 3 chloride is added to water, it produces two different types of ions, a negative ion and a positive ion. A negative ion is of chloride, because these are 3 in number. Why? Because Cl3, CONH3 taken 6 times Cl3, and Cl3 means it will produce 3 chloride ions, and this is one cation. So here coordination sphere exists as cation or cationic form. It has, in the previous case it was anionic form. This will not ionize in water. In every case, secondary valencies are to be satisfied. For example, if we consider hexamine cobalt 3 chloride, in this cobalt is metal, which is called as central metal ion here. Its coordination number or secondary valency is 6. Therefore, there should be 6 ligands around it, or there should be 6 number of ligand molecules or ions, as we have in the case here 6 NH3 molecules. If 6 NH3 molecules are not there, then what will happen? If 5 are there, one more chloride ion will contribute, or it will act as ligand. If it is 4, then 2 chloride ions will act as ligand. If it is 3, all 3 will act as ligand, so there will be no chloride ion in the solution. Only CO NH3 taken thrice Cl3 will exist. These are shown by thick lines. These will be directed in different directions, space around the central metal ion. When we write the structure, we write the secondary valencies by taking thick lines and primary valencies as dotted line. Primary valencies will not contribute to the structure, but secondary valencies will contribute. Why? Because these are covalent in nature, whereas primary valencies are ionic in nature. These secondary valencies are covalent in nature, means they will have particular direction, or the atom or ion will orient themselves in particular direction in the space around the central metal ion, giving a particular shape or geometry to the molecule or ion of the complex. So the complex ion or the complex molecule will have a particular geometry. What type of geometry, that we will discuss here now. If for a metal atom whose coordination number is 6, then the geometry or the structure of the molecule of complex or ion will be octahedral. If coordination number is 6, then the structure or geometry of molecular ion of the complex will be octahedral. This we have to remember. For example, again, if we take hexamine cobalt 3 chloride, which can also be represented as COCl3 6NH3. Here 3 chloride ions get ionized and these will not get ionized. Now the structure or shape of this will be like this, octahedral, or this can be more clearly shown like this. Okay, here this red color will be for cobalt, and these white balls represent NH3. Okay, now these are the 6 ammonia molecules which are directed in different direction space, one above the plane, one below the plane, and these 4 are in the plane, in one plane, whereas these 2 are towards ourselves and these are away from us. And these 3 chloride ions are satisfying primary valencies, means they are ionizable. Now these 2 particular figures are for the molecule which has 2 chloride ions as ligand, means out of 6 ligands, 4 are NH3 and 2 are chlorine. Whatever it may be, there are 6 ligands around the central metal atom or ion, giving the shape of the molecule as octahedral. How it becomes octahedral? Now please see carefully. This blue color shows one plane. Okay, it is rectangular or square plane. So here, out of 6 atoms or molecules or ions, 4 are occupying the corners of this rectangle. Okay, one is above the plane, the other is below the plane, as I told you here in this figure. Out of 6 NH3 molecules, 4 are in one plane, rectangular plane. One above the plane, the sixth one is below the plane. So when we have this plane, or in these blue planes, one atom or molecule is above the plane, the other is below the plane. Now we join these vertices. Okay, 4 vertices of rectangle with atom or molecule above the plane. Similarly, 4 vertices of the plane with the molecule or atom below the plane, giving 4 surfaces above the plane, 4 surfaces below the plane. 4 plus 4, 8. 8 means oct. Surfaces means hedral. 8 surfaces are octahedral shape or octahedral structure or geometry to the complex molecular ion. Now, every plane will be like this, triangular plane or triangular surface. 4 are formed below the plane, 4 are formed above the plane. All these 4 plus 4, 8 surfaces are triangular in shape, which are shown like this, or like this, or like this. Now this structure is in 3 dimensions, whereas we are showing in 2 dimensions. Therefore, we have to think about the 3 axes, and 3 axes are named as X, Y, and Z. These are dividing the space in. Now this plane, maybe it is in XY, and these 2 ligand molecules or atoms or ions in Z direction or on Z axis. Now, let us discuss about the geometry or structure or shape of complex ion or complex molecule with coordination number 4. CN means coordination number 4 or secondary valency 4. Geometry of this type of complex ion or molecule will be of 2 types. Either it will be square planar or it will be tetrahedral. So this postulate predict that the shape of complex ion with coordination number 6 will have octahedral shape, whereas for coordination number 4 it may have 2 different types. One may be square planar, other may be tetrahedral structure. Now we will take first the geometry of complex with coordination number 4, whose shape or geometry is square planar. For example, we have PtCl4 or PtNH3 taken twice, Cl2 taken twice. Now, this has square planar. Plane means only 2-dimensional figure it will have. And in the square, at the center of a square, the central metal ion will be there, or it will be accommodated at the center of the square. Whereas on the corners or vertices, 4 ligands will take place, or they will be accommodated on the vertices or corners. Okay. Now, one more example is of complex of nickel. Here We will discuss this figure again when we talk about the isomerism, because that is a different topic, but we can use the same figures. In this, at this stage, we are discussing the structure. Therefore, remember platinum or nickel, which are the central metal ions, they are at the center of plane, and the plane is of square shape, and the ligands are at the corner or vertices. So this is the correct figure. Here, red color shows the central metal ion, and white balls show the ligands. If we join all these four, we get square plane. Therefore, it is called square planar shape. Or if it is represented in 3 dimensions, this dotted line is z-axis, because there are no atoms or molecules of ligand are there. Therefore, this will not contribute anything to the structure of the complex ion or molecule. Therefore, we will not consider z-axis. Only 2 axes, x and y, are sufficient, and this is the square plane. This we get by joining the points where ligands are accommodated. So we get a square plane. At the corners of the square, we have ligand. If we take PtCl4, Pt, that is N plus, represents central metal ion. Let that be platinum, and these are Cl minus. Therefore, Pt will be with positive charge and ligands are negatively charged. Again, these are the structures or figures with 4 ligands, or coordination number 4, or a metal with coordination number 4. The same thing with another complex with copper as central metal ion and ammonia as ligand. Ammonia exists in molecular form, and every molecule of ammonia will have 1 nitrogen atom, 3 hydrogens. If nitrogens are represented by blue balls and copper with white ball, these 4 blue balls will be in one plane, and in the same plane at the center copper will be there. Means all 5 atoms are in same plane. Therefore, these are called square planar shape, and 3 hydrogen atoms of ammonia. So this ion, which is a complex ion, has square planar shape. Again, similar structure for PtNH3 taken twice, Cl2 taken twice, means diamine dichloro platinum. Again, this figure we will discuss later when we consider the isomerism. Now, the structure or geometry of complexes with coordination number 4, or whose secondary valence is 4, and they give tetrahedral structure to the complex ion or complex molecule. For example, we have few here: nickel tetracarbonyl, and the ions of copper and zinc in their coordination sphere or complex ion will have tetrahedral shape. For example, CuCl4 2 minus, or tetra, 4 atoms, 4 ions, chloro means 4 chloride ions, cuprate because the coordination sphere is in anionic form. Whenever it is in an anionic form, central metal ion's name will end at 8, or we will add a suffix 8 to it. So tetrachlorocuprate 2 ion. It has a shape of regular tetrahedron. What is the meaning of tetrahedron? Tetra means 4, hedron means corners. Hedral means surfaces, hedron means corners. Here, every chloride ion is acting as ligand. It forms covalent bonds with copper, and that particular bond is called coordinate covalent bond. Therefore, they will be directed in different directions in space, giving a particular geometry or shape to the ion. And here they are oriented into different directions in three-dimensional space. When we join every corner, 4 chloride or 4 corners, we will get a figure with 4 corners. At the center, copper or central metal ion will be placed. Therefore, this is called as tetrahedron. Now, the same can be represented like this also. It is inside the coordination sphere because the cation, this is anionic. Therefore, the other thing will be cation. So it will not contribute anything to the shape or geometry of this ion. Therefore, we are representing only the structure of ion, which is central or complex ion or coordination sphere. Copper, and at 4 corners of tetrahedron we have chlorides. When we join them and form a cube, because cube or cuboid will be three-dimensional figure, that will give you this type of shape. Or when we have XYZ directions, the same thing here, metal, this white dot or small sphere shows metal ion, and these are the ligands here also. One more complex, it is a neutral one, it is not an ionic. So the coordination sphere or complex is a neutral molecule. This complex is nothing but nickel tetracarbonyl. These are 4 carbonyl groups or CO groups called as carbonyl. They orient themselves into different directions in space, forming the same shape called as tetrahedron. Next point in the Werner's theory is he introduced concept of square bracket. Why? Because we have two things in a complex. One is non-ionizable sphere or aggregate of atoms or ions which are non-ionizable. They exist as unit in the solution of the complex or in water. And another is ionizable. So to distinguish them or to make a difference between them, he used square bracket, and all those species which are non-ionizable are placed inside the bracket, square bracket. Means he suggested that you can write all those species in square bracket, which are non-ionizable in water. What are the species which can be written inside this bracket, which are non-ionizable, are nothing but central metal ion and ligand together. Now, central metal ion sometimes may be more one atom or more than one atom. Similarly, ligands may also be of one compound or ion or of different. For example, if only ammonia molecules are serving as ligands, one ligand. If ammonia and chloride both are there, then two types like that. So inside the bracket, square bracket, we will be having central metal ion and ligand, which are bonded with coordinate covalent bonds. These are bonded with coordinate covalent bonds. How? Ligand will donate pair of electron to metal ion and will form coordinate covalent bond. And secondary valencies of metal get satisfied in this way. So by formation of coordinate bond or dative bond, the secondary valencies of metal are satisfied. Species which are ion or which are ionizable, or ionizable part is written outside the square bracket. Only two things you have to remember. Ionizable part will be written outside the bracket and non-ionizable will be written inside the bracket. So species or ions outside the bracket will be ionizable, and here they satisfy the primary valencies of the metal. Primary valency is represented by a positive number written on the square bracket. Here, positive or negative number is written. Actually, it is the charge. And this is primary valency of the ion. So, in this way, we will write on the square bracket a number which may give you an idea about the oxidation state of the metal, and that oxidation state will be primary valency, whereas secondary valencies are written as a number below the small bracket. Again, if we consider these examples, okay, inside the square, inside the square we have central metal ion and ligand, and inside the small bracket we have ligand, and here there is a number which gives you the coordination number or secondary valency of the metal ion. If more than one ligand is there, we have to write all those numbers. For example, NH3 taken twice, Cl2 taken twice, 2 plus 2, 4. NH3 taken thrice, Cl3 taken thrice, again 3 plus 3, 6, like that. This figure will give you illustration about the above postulates and rules, etc. Here we have taken CO, NH3 taken 6 times, Cl3 means hexamine, cobalt 3, chloride. This is the figure of this. It is a figure drawn on the paper. So this represents a plane in which 4 ammonia molecules are there. One ammonia molecule is above the plane, another is below the plane. When we join these corners, we get 4 planes above, 4 planes below, 4 plus 4, 8 means an octahedron. And these are not represented as thick line because they are ionizable and will not contribute anything to the geometry. But they can give you an idea that the valency of cobalt is +3. It is primary valency or oxidation state. Why? Every Cl ion will have -1 charge or oxidation state. 3 chlorides are there, 3 into -1, -3. To satisfy that or to make a neutral molecule, we need +3 on cobalt. So the oxidation state of cobalt is +3 in this case. Again, the same thing. Here, we are actually discussing about the fact that how this Werner's theory explain Actually, when we add hexamine cobalt chloride to water, how many ions we get, or how many ionizable species are there? When we added 3 chlorides and 1 complex ion, we will get 1 plus 3, 4 ions. And this is represented as COCl3 6NH3. But if we have only 5 ammonia molecules, then don't think that only 5 ligands are there. As I told you earlier, the secondary valency must be satisfied. As a result, one chloride ion will act as ligand. Therefore, one of the chloride ion is, we are using a thick line as well as dotted line, so that we can show that it acts as ligand here. These two will get ionized, but it will not get ionized. As a result, again, 3 plus 3, 6 ligands are there, or the coordination number of this is 6, or the secondary valency of cobalt is 6. It is maintained. Now we will take the next compound, which is represented by COCl3 4NH3. In this 5NH3, when we add this compound to water, only 2 chloride and this central part, our coordination sphere, will exist. So instead of 1 plus 3, 4, here we will get 2 plus 1, 3 ions only. Now come to this compound, which is represented by COCl3 4NH3. Here only 4 ammonia molecules are there, but actually the coordination number is 6, or the secondary valency of cobalt is 6. Therefore, we need 2 more ligand molecules or ion. Therefore, 2 chlorides will act as ligand here. Therefore, they are represented by thick or dotted lines. So again, 2 plus 4, 6 ligands are, the secondary valency of cobalt 6 is satisfied. And here only 1 chloride ion will form. So 1 plus 1, only 2 ions will be there in solution of this compound represented by COCl3 4NH3. Let us take another compound of cobalt complex. Here, this is COCl3 3NH3, means only 3 molecules of ammonia are acting as ligand, whereas the secondary valency of cobalt is 6. Therefore, all 3 chlorides will act here as ligand. Therefore, 3 plus 3 is 6. So all are denoted by thick lines. So in water, no chloride will exist, or chlorine will not get ionized. So this species will exist as a unit, or it is a molecule, not ion. CONH3 taken thrice, Cl3 is a unit. It exists as a unit, will not get ionized. It is a covalent compound. The same here we have given in a tabular form. When we add different complexes of cobalt with ammonia, we get ions like this. For COCl3 6NH3, 1 coordination sphere plus 3 chlorides, totally 4. In second case, where COCl3 5NH3 is there, only 2 chlorides, but the total ions will be 3 because 1 complex ion will be there. 2 negative charges or negative ions, 1 positive ion. Whereas in third case, COCl3 4NH3, only 1 chloride will be there and total ions will be 2. because one complex ion and one chloride ion. Here there will be no chloride. Actually, it should be 0 here. If it is 3NH3, COCl3, 3NH3, then it will be 0, and here only one species. Okay, for COCl3, 3NH3, only one molecule or no ion will form. How to prove this? The evidence for Werner's theory is because these compounds will produce chlorine or chloride ions. So in their solution with water, if we add silver nitrate, the silver nitrate will react with the solution of this complex and will form AgCl, that is silver chloride. In this way, we can calculate how many moles of number of moles of chloride are present. In this compound, we will get 3 moles of chloride. In this compound, where 5NH3 is there, only 2 chlorides. In this compound, where 4NH3 is there, 1 mole of chlorides. And if we have COCl3, 3NH3, no chloride will get precipitated because all chlorides will act as ligand in that case. Now, before we end, we will see the isomerism. When we have square planar geometry, there we will be having isomerism, which is generally called as geometrical isomerism, means geometric isomers will form when the ligand has square planar shape. How it is possible? There are 4 ligands, and if we have two molecules or ions of one type of ligand, there will be 2 molecules or ions for one, 2 molecules or ions for of other. Then both the molecules of same ligand may be arranged on the same side or on opposite side, giving rise to 2 different isomers. One is called cis isomer, the other is called trans isomer. Collectively, they are called geometric isomers. Which one is called cis and which one is called trans? If the ligands are on the same molecules are on the same side, this is called cis type of isomer, and if they are on opposite side, this is called trans type of geometric isomers. On paper, we can represent like this. If we have Ma2B2 type, there can be 2 different conditions, or we can write 2 different structures, because we will be having 2 different compounds, one in cis form, the other is trans form, and this is called these are called geometric isomers. In cis form, both atoms of same ligand will be on the same side, and in trans form they will be on the opposite side. For example, in PT NH3 taken twice, Cl2 taken twice, that means cis diamine dichloroplatinum 2, means PT NH3 taken twice, Cl2 will give you 2 different types of isomers. One is cis, the other is trans. The name of the compound for cis geometric isomer is cis diamine dichloroplatinum 2. For trans, it is trans diamine dichloroplatinum 2. Okay? Without cis and trans, the name will appear same. Only when we write cis or trans to differentiate the two different compounds form called as isomers, we write cis for one, trans for other. Cis for the molecule which is having same type of ligands on same sites, and if they appear on the opposite, we write trans. Similarly, in the case of nickel complex, there may be many such compounds. So this was regarding isomer. So Werner not only explain about the in detail the complex or the characteristics of complexes, but also he gave the shapes of complexes and also the isomerism which exist in the complexes. Okay, and for evidence of Werner's theory, we can test the complex with chloride if we have chloride in the complex by adding the silver nitrate solution to it. And at the end, we will discuss about the application of Werner's theory. First one is it predicts the exact structure of each complex. The structure of complex or geometry of complex can be predicted. Second, it explains why a particular metal and particular ligand form different complexes. Sometimes they form different complexes. It also explains the different properties of each complex. Third one is it predicts the structure of different complexes with coordination number 4 and coordination number 6. And also one major thing is that it could also explain the isomerism which exists in few complexes with square planar shape, and there are two different isomers, cis and trans. Last thing is limitations to this theory. Werner had no theoretical justification for his proposed theory, and it does not explain the cause of various properties like color, magnetic property, etc. So this was regarding Werner's theory. For today, let us end here. Thank you, one and all, for watching this. Thank you for watching.